What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? And I hope you're enjoying your Thursday afternoon. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I got a little bit of a trade chatter going on surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, first, before I get to the recent trade chatter that has been reported around the Brooklyn Nets, first, obviously, I'm going to give out the news about the expected return of forward T.J. Warren to the Brooklyn Nets this Friday against the Toronto Raptors. He's going to be seeing his first action since he had foot surgery last offseason, and he's pretty much been out for the last season plus of his career because of that foot surgery. So I'm curious to see A, how many minutes he's going to get, B, how much he's going to play, C, what kind of impact he's going to be out there, if he's going to be mostly small forward, power forward, how are they going to utilize him on the basketball court, etc. I'm really curious to see how TJ Warren is going to fit into this team going forward. That's like the ultimate thing I'm wondering about. But now, to get to the reason why you guys are probably tuning into this video. And it looks like that the Brooklyn Nets might actually be looking for some outside help in the front court outside of the organization. As today, as reported by Ian Begley of SNY.com, it looks like the Brooklyn Nets have touched base in potential trade chatter with the AtlantaHawks power forward John Collins. Interesting that the Brooklyn Nets are interested in the former first-round pick in 2017 out of Wake Forest, the 6'9", 226-pound power forward, who is pretty much in his sixth year in the NBA, who is averaging 12 points per game, along with 7.5, about 8 rebounds per game, about 3 assists, and he's shooting about 48% from the field so far this year in about 22 games, so he hasn't missed any games so far this season. He's also blocking about 1 shot per game with about a steal per game, and he's also averaged about a turnover during his season so far. John Collins. One of the things Brooklyn Nets have been looking for is some type of front court help. John Collins fits the bill. You look at his numbers, he averages about 8 rebounds per game. He's about a 12, 13, 14-point scorer. He's actually better than that, so he's off to a little bit of a slow start. He doesn't have to be the main cog in that offense. Obviously, when you have guys like Dejounte Murray and Trae Young over there on that AtlantaHawks offense, and they've struggled a little bit so far this year in terms of getting off to a solid start. They're about 7th or 8th place right now in the Eastern Conference, so they're off to a little bit of a slow start as well. So you have to think, because of the kind of money that John Collins is making, are the Atlanta Hawks thinking about maybe trading him away? And there were rumors in the offseason about the Atlanta Hawks possibly trying to get rid of a guy like John Collins. And the Nets have been rumored to have interest in John Collins, not just in this present day, but there are rumors about the Nets having potential interest in John Collins all the way in the offseason because of the type of player he is and how he would fit into this Brooklyn Nets system, because he's close to a double-double guy. Like I said, 8 rebounds per game. He at best could be like a 15, 16, maybe even like 18-point scorer. He's done it already in the past in his career. This is a guy that could definitely help out the Brooklyn Nets in that front court where they are lacking right now, because besides Nicolas Claxton, they don't really have a consistent presence they could trust in and night out. So they're definitely engaged in potential trade talks with John Collins. Would a deal actually happen? I don't know. That's the question you have to think about, because the type of contract that John Collins also has. He's making a lot of money right now, and that's one of the biggest problems, that he does make a lot of money in terms of, his contract overall. So John Collins, I would be absolutely fine if we bring in a guy like John Collins, because he can help out this team going to the season. He's making right now $23,500,000 so far this year. His contract rolls all the way out until about 2025, 2026, after he signed that extension with the Atlanta Hawks this past off season. So you have to wonder, are the Atlanta Hawks thinking about selling him off at a point where maybe they could sell him off high? He is dealing with an injury right now too. He is a little bit banged up as we go. I believe he's dealing with a back injury right now. So John Collins, would the Brooklyn Nets be smart to go after a guy like John Collins? Yeah. Is he going to cost a decent amount? Probably. You might have to sell out a first-round pick, Or if you don't have a first-round pick to give away, you might have to give away maybe a second-round pick and one of your young core players like a Cam Thomas, like a Day'Ron Sharpe, like a Kessler Edwards, and then some. You might have to sell some of these guys to be able to bring in a guy like John Collins and maybe one of these hefty contracts like a Joe Harris, like a Patty Mills, maybe in like a Seth Curry. You have to sell off one of these players to bring in a guy like John Collins. But I find it very interesting that the Nets are somewhat circling back over to a guy like John Collins. If, in fact, the Atlanta Hawks, who are struggling so far at the beginning of this season, can't find a way to right the ship, and they are thinking about selling off players, specifically a player like John Collins, and what it would take to bring in John Collins to the Brooklyn Nets. Like I said, he is making a hefty salary, $23,500,000 so far this year. He is a guy that is banged up a little bit. He has gotten hurt for the past couple of years. Last year, he missed a whole bunch of games with, I believe, an ankle injury that kept him out for most of the season. So you have to run the risk of that. But at the same time, he is an 8 rebound per game guy. He is a guy that is capable of scoring close to 20 points as he's done it before. And he would definitely bring the much-needed depth into that front court for the Brooklyn Nets if, in fact, they're curious and inquiring a guy like John Collins for this team and add more front court depth. And you could slide him in to that power forward position, which has eluded this team so far because they really have not had a surefire power forward. Ben Simmons has been playing a lot of point forward. He's been doing a decent job, but maybe if you slide Ben Simmons into another role, maybe if you want to make him a sixth man, you could slide John Collins in as that power forward right next to Nicolas Claxton at center, and you have yourself a pretty good dynamic at the power forward and the center position. But also, what is it going to take to trade for a guy like John Collins? So I'm very interested in see if this is going to go anywhere as the season plays out and we get closer to the NBA trade deadline. But that is your news right now, is that the Brooklyn Nets are interested and have purportedly been in touch with the Atlanta Hawks about gauging interest in power forward John Collins. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT85 for more breaking news, updates, and chatter surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. And let me know in the comment section what you think about potentially acquiring a guy like John Collins during this in a trade. What do you think it's going to take to give up? What do you think? What's going to take to give up in order to acquire a guy like John Collins? If you think he's a good fit for this team, if he's one of those missing pieces to help put this team over the edge, and what kind of outlook and how it'll reshape this Brooklyn Nets team if you could bring him in and add him to the fold with the Ben Simmons, with the Kevin Durant, with the Kyrie Irving, and some of the other pieces you have mixed onto this basketball team as we head through the rest of the NBA season. So I thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Take it easy, and as always, let's go Brooklyn Nets. It's a Nets world, and we all just live in it.